First of all, I want to thank everybody for coming out. It's a great environment. Stripe out 2 years in a row has been a real positive for us. So awesome to have that. Also want to thank all the Lettermen for coming back. It was pretty cool. I think we had over 200 Lettermen at the game today, if not more. So that's special. One of the special things about Penn State. So very proud of that. Overall, I thought our defense played well, really played well. We got to stop turning the ball over on offense. Puts our defense in a tough spot. But I thought our defense played well. It was great to see so many different guys step up and make plays for us. We had a young man that was with us today as a guest coach with us named Josiah. And John Reed promised him an interception before the game. So it was awesome for him to be able to deliver on that promise. It's pretty special. When you get in a situation when you're thin at linebacker and you don't have Naeem Wortman, and you don't have Brandon Bell, you don't have Jason Kabinda, three of the better linebackers in the Big Ten in my opinion, and you got guys that go in there and step up. Cooper, Bowen, Campbell, those guys with their first starts, and then so happy for Brandon Smith. Brandon Smith's a guy that from the day we arrived here, all he does is try to be the best teammate he possibly can be, keeps getting better and better, and for him to go in, have 7 tackles, be really productive, call the defense, communicate with the defense, that was big time. So really proud of Brandon. I'm sorry, he had 8 tackles, so really proud of him. And then the other thing I would say is special teams. Our punter, thank you, Gillikin. Our punter Gillikin continues to do a great job for us. That's been big for us. We've got to continue to build on that. The fluke play on the rugby style punt that hit Amani in the back of the legs, that was a critical play in the game. One of those freak plays. We worked on that all week long. It was a funny bounce there. Not only was it a funny bounce on Amani, but then it was a funny bounce when John Reed went to go recover it. So overall, we found a way to grind it out and get a win against a good football team, and something to build on. Something to build on going into next week. Open up the questions.
Raise your hand. We'll get a mic to you.
James, for a long time you've talked about the depth situation on your roster. How much did that come to fruition today, the way guys didn't start the game and guys had to leave the game?
Yeah, we got to continue to work on developing depth. We got to continue doing a great job of recruiting. And then we got to do a great job of keeping guys healthy as much as we possibly can. We still have some positions like linebacker that we have some challenges there. And then obviously whenever you lose 3 starters, I think at one point we had 7 starters out on defense. If you count Schwann in that group as well, I think we have 7 guys that are limited in their time. So that it is what it is. We just got to keep working through. We got to keep grinding. We got to keep developing those guys. I loved how the defense handled it. There wasn't one coach, there wasn't one player that said one thing about it. It was next man up, and they went in and battled. So very proud of how they handled that. But it's something we got to continue to work on.
James, how much does Brandon work with the ones this year?
Yeah, not a whole lot. Brandon hasn't got a whole lot of work with the ones. I don't know if he's had any work with the ones, to be honest with you. But he's a guy that I think is what we want to continue to build here. At Penn State as a university and as a football program. Guys that are going to take advantage of opportunities. Guys that are going to prepare for their opportunity when it comes. And take advantage of it. So it was great to have him break the team down. Had him break the team down at the end of our locker room, and I also told him that he's going out tonight to celebrate with his teammates, whether his wife likes it or not. If you don't know, Brandon's married, so I told Brandon I wanted him to go out and enjoy himself with his teammates. His wife might be upset with me, but he's earned it.
James, you lost Barkley there early in the first half, it looked like, with the leg. How concerned were you about that? And then, obviously, on that big run, it seemed like he was there.
Yeah, we have depth at running back. We have 4 guys that we feel can play at this level and be successful. That's a credit to them and their approach. That's a credit to Coach Huff and the development of those guys. Saquon could have went back in a little bit earlier, but those other guys were having success while they were in there. So, Saquon was ready to go. Once he got it back in there, it was great to see him spring a big run. We got to do a better job up front. We still can be more physical. That's something that we need to show every single day in practice. We had a few missed assignments, but more than anything, we just got to strain and we got to create space. We're going to continue to see really good defensive lines. We're going to continue to see people overload the box with outside linebackers and safeties. And we got a good back, so we got to keep working for them and keep developing that part of our offense.
Hey, James. Right here. What led to the decision to get Saquon back in the game, and can you describe, what you saw on his big run there at the end of the game? Kind of the first Saquon Barkley type run of the season, maybe.
Yeah, the decision to put him back in the game was that he was ready. Not a whole lot more than that. He was able to go back in the game and ready to go back in the game. So we got him back in there. He actually could have went in a little bit earlier, but like I mentioned, other guys were having some success, and then we were able to get him back in. And obviously, Saquon has the ability, if we can create a little bit more space, he has the ability to break tackles. He has the ability to make people miss, and then he has the ability with his speed to finish runs. So not a whole lot more than that.
Hey James, over here.
How you doing?
Good, how you doing?
Awesome.
You mentioned that you need to limit the turnovers and fumbling the ball. There's been, I believe, 3 mishandled snaps now by Trace in the last 2 games. What are you seeing that's going on with that exchange, and have you talked to him about that?
I can remember one from today. That was a good snap that he dropped. The other one was a snap that was off to his right, and the other was snapped over his head. We won't get into that. But we got to do a better job protecting the ball. There's no doubt about it. We can't have the fumbled snaps. We can't have the snap off to the right. We can't have the snap snapped on the wrong cadence over the quarterback's head. We're just going to keep working on it and keep emphasizing it. And then we can't fumble the ball once we have the ball in our hands. And then the interception we threw, if you go back and watch the TV copy, which I know you guys typically do, you're going to see it was an option route. You can run a corner or run a post. Trace thought he was going to run a corner, threw the corner, the post was wide open for maybe a touchdown, and it was an ugly interception. So we got to get those things cleaned up from a communication and a body language perspective.
James, I know you ruled about the injuries, but are any of the guys that didn't play today, are they ruled out for the year? Do you expect some of those guys to be able to come back?
Yeah, I'll have a better idea on Tuesday. It would not be appropriate for me to talk right now before the doctors have had an opportunity to visit with me and have an opportunity to visit with them. As you can imagine, there's a lot of different tests that have to be done, and then guys actually, you see them the next day, you think they're going to be fine, and the next day they're not, or vice versa. So we'll see how this thing plays out. We'll discuss it on Tuesday.
James, can you just take me back to the play where you got hurt? You guys were in a safe there, I believe. Was that the plan? And
Punt safe, yeah.
yeah. And what were you kind of saying to him when you were down there? Because it looked like quite a bit of teammates were around him, and obviously he's a guy who's been through a lot the last year or so.
Yeah, just making sure he was okay and there to support him.
And as you kind of move forward here, we've talked about the special teams a little bit. How did you think that Joey kind of bounced back today with the kickoffs? Were you pleased with him? Or?
Yeah, I thought Joey's doing a nice job. He had the one out of bounds. To be honest with you, I'd rather have one out of bounds than one down the middle of the field when it's supposed to be to the left. 35-yard line is a lot better than putting so much stress on the other 10 guys on the field and a possible big return. So I'm gonna have that conversation with him. But I thought overall he's a talented kid. He needs to be more consistent, but he's a talented guy. I'm proud of him. He's embraced his role. I think it's been a good decision to have Tyler focus on field goals and have Joey focus on kickoffs. Take a little bit of responsibility and pressure off of those guys and allow them to master their craft in one area. So that was positive.
Coach, back here, can you talk about Andre Robinson's performance today and breaking through and getting that first touchdown?
Yeah, it's great. It's great to see guys like Andre Robinson, Brandon Smith, and Cooper, and Bowen, and Campbell, and Torrance Brown, and all these guys that maybe are getting more significant time than they've had in the past. Andre's another guy. He's a very talented guy. He's probably best friends with Saquon and Mark. That room is very, very close. what I thought was really special is not only Andre going in and having success and getting a touchdown, but if you notice, the guy that was probably more excited than anybody in the stadium was Saquon Barkley. You know, running down the field, giving him a big hug and celebrating him. So, you know, that's special. You know, that's special, and we want to continue building on that. He's a talented player, and we want to continue to create opportunities for him. You know, not only throughout this year, but throughout his career. Excuse me.
Time for two more. James, with two linebackers already out, why did you decide to keep Naeem on that punt return?
Say that again.
With two linebackers already out of the game, why did you decide to keep Naeem on that punt return?
Yeah, that was what we just discussed. Audrey just asked that. It was punt safe.
Yeah.
Punt safe is your defense stays on the field, and we just put the punt returner in.
Anything else?
That's what punt safe is. It's your defense stays on the field.
Well, I just didn't know if you were trying to save him.
Yeah, he's not on starting on any special teams. He's not on one, but when you go punt safe, that's your defense. So in case they run a fake or they line up an offensive formation, you got the people out there to stop it on. We'll do it week by week, whether it's 4th and 3 or less, 4th and 4 or less. I don't think Temple ever goes punt return team. They go punt safe the whole time. Everybody has different philosophies, but yeah, that's fairly common.
James, you talked last week about wanting to start better, and through this week you talked about that. Noticed in the tunnel you were kind of shoving some guys playfully before the game. What was your mindset like before the game doing that? Because I don't think you usually do that.
Yeah, I just, I'm not sure. You know, we want to start faster. I didn't kind of stay, you know, up last night thinking about I'm going to shove them and push them to start fast. It just kind of what I did. Trying to have some fun with them, trying to loosen them up. I thought we did start out better. We had some turnovers that slowed us down later in the game and put our defense in tough spots, but I did think we started better. I think that's something that we want to do. If you look statistically, it's like 80% or higher nationally if you're winning in the first half. I think it's 82% or higher or something like that in the Big Ten, and specifically at Penn State, it's like 82% or higher. If you win in the first half, you typically win the game. So it's an emphasis for us. We want to start out strong, and then I think one of the better things we do is rush the passer. We need to be more consistent up front, stopping the run, and being gap accountable, which I thought we were better today, except for a few plays. And now we can get a lead and force people to throw the ball a little bit more, and that's something we do a pretty good job of pressuring the quarterback. Thanks, guys.
Thank